Welcome back to another episode of Tides of Change. Each video takes a dozen hours to bring to life, so it would really help the channel if you could leave a like. And remember, members get early access to the next episode. Now then, back to the story. Where we left off, the circular storm has been going for a couple days now, so everybody on the crew realized that we're stuck here on this island, so everybody has decided to go about and do their own thing to focus on what they want, because the four of you have been stuck together for months now, ever since you arrived on the boat and at the town of Upper. So this is the first time in quite a while where you've been able to have some time to yourself. Spira has spent it mostly with the unicorn child, and Hyacinth is essentially staying on the boats as well because they don't like pirates and alcohol that much. And Nyx is recovering. You have some perfect opportunity to spend some time with Commander Xir because he unfortunately cannot return to base while the storm has him trapped on this island. Oh no. Oh no. So yeah, you get to have some bonding time with Commander Xir now. So yes.
Yeah, first of all, I think I should tell him everything that happened up until now.
Okay, before you can start going into the details of that, he gestures towards you to say, like, let's have a walk first, because there are lots of ears around here, a particularly sensitive fox variety type. As he gestures towards Nyx's room, basically be like, yeah, that one is exceptionally sharp. They have very good hearing, as I noticed in the fight. The moment that Kitsune Pirate's pants moved, they reacted instantly. Yeah, we're gonna take a walk.
Okay.
Even if they can hear us right now, they are in no physical condition to follow.
Yeah.
That said, also, based on their performance on swimming when the ground turned to water, I don't think they can follow us where we're going anyway. Yeah.
Okay, so we are going into the water.
Yeah, we'll take a swim in a bit, but first let's have a walk along the beach just to throw off anyone who might be following us. So yeah, Commander Xir leads, and I assume you follow.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I have been stuck on this island for quite a few weeks now. It wasn't just waiting for you. I was also using this as a base of operations for picking up on intel from a couple of my subordinates. Most of them have already returned. I had completed most of the intel gathering. I don't want to say reconnaissance because technically this is our own territory, but I'm sure you're aware that things have gotten a little more complicated ever since that. I do believe that they sent you the message. He's referring to the time when you got the message when you were in Sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
Commander Xir and you were stationed in Thal Azeth, and when you received the notification, the message from Lady Thal, she spoke to you in that recorded message where she said that your father has been imprisoned in Vaer'Ghul. Commander Xir was sent to investigate this as well because your father worked for Thal and Azeth as well, and they want to know why Vaer'Ghul is operating beyond the norms, because the military cities tend to have a lot of freedom, but this is also strange. Normally they don't interfere with personnel from each other, so to directly capture your father, it was concerning. And yeah, Lady Thal initially wasn't going to inform you of this, but Commander Xir changed their mind. He says, I threatened to go fetch you myself if they didn't inform you. So in order to keep Commander Xir on mission and not distracted, they conceded that they would inform you. So he wanted to make sure you did get the message, right?
But he doesn't know anything about my father, I mean, beyond that.
Well, he sits down for a little bit on the side as the storm rages around you, and he goes, it should be fine here. We'll take a swim in a bit, but yeah. So your father was sent to investigate the rumors of a devil and tidebreaker fort. He was setting sail across to Lysira and Froz and ultimately Huldran. It seems that somewhere along this journey between Verdantia and Tarnithia, the boat was intercepted and they were taken prisoner. Intercepted by personnel belonging to Vaer'Ghul. Now, maybe it's best if I hear your side of the story. So this is the chance where you can tell him everything that's happened up to this point.
Okay, then I will tell him everything. The unicorns, the vampires, everything.
Okay.
I mean, I think we can just skip that.
Yeah, sure. I'm not going to make this a lesson where I'm testing test your memory on everything. Don't worry. That's my...
It's best if you don't test my memory because my memory is like a goldfish.
It's all good. He is a bit concerned when he hears the stories because he said Thal and Azeth only fed him pieces of information regarding your progress, just enough to keep him satisfied that your mission was going well and you didn't need extracting. He said they definitely left out some important bits here. So my first question before we get into the conspiracy here, I need to know, you haven't told Thal or Azeth about this djinn you said it was, this creature that gave you the blessing?
No.
Good. He sighs of relief and you can see as if like a weight on his shoulders has been lifted when he hears that. And he says, I think it's time I tell you about the change in your appearance as he gestures towards your tendrils. The change in your tendrils. He strokes his beard as well. Give me a perception roll. So highest mental stat plus
perception.
25. Very nice. You notice that Commander Xir also has exceptionally long tendrils for an abyssal. And yeah, you can comment on this or you can just let him continue talking.
Wait, is this new?
Nope, they've been there from the beginning. But you do realize now that based on his reaction to yours and the fact that he started stroking his, well, he was kind of subtly signaling to you, being like, we have something in common here.
Now I notice you also have these long tendrils. What do you know about them?
Well, I will say this. You got yours in a far easier, far less painful manner. He says, well, okay, I'll stop beating around the seaweed because they don't have bushes in the ocean, so I'll beat around the seaweed. This is something that most Abyssal don't know about because it is kept secret by the noble class. So it is something that only those of the royal bloodline, the noble bloodline, or exceptionally trusted individuals within the military are aware of. And it's known as Descension, whereas other species tend to view climbing higher and ascending to be, the peak of reaching a new level. For us Abyssal, we work the other way. For us, descending further into the abyss and the darkness is what enables new and more powerful opportunities. Unfortunately, Descension is unpleasant. He laughs a little bit. As you can see, he's thinking of his memories. And he says, in order to acquire this power, not all nobles are granted it either. It's only given to those who are trusted most by the Empress or the Emperor at the time. Currently, it's the Empress. So even amongst the noble families, it's not guaranteed that their children or they themselves will be granted the honor of Descension. It seems that djinn of yours has tapped into the power of our species and awakened it again in a much more pleasing manner. He's a little bit envious. Yeah. And he says,
what do you mean? What did you have to do in order to gain yours?
Well, I earned enough trust through my military career it was shortly after the incident when you and I first met, by the way, when I was still captain. After that battle near Eldra, I had to pursue the Centauri fleets, and it was due to my victories in the series of battles following that I proved my capabilities and trust towards the Empress, and she granted an audience with me. This is how I eventually came to rise to the rank of commander. Unfortunately, I did have to disappear for a month, more specifically to the dungeons of the palace.
Oof.
The ritual of Descension requires the Emperor or Empress themselves to be the one who initiates the ritual, and the individual who is chosen, I almost said lucky, but it's not always lucky. The individual who is chosen is essentially chained up and tied down for a month straight, where the Empress whispered in my ears every morning and every evening, and they use the voice of the Abyssal, but it's not, especially with the Empress, it's not like our regular abilities, right? The Empress is on another level when it comes to our projected psychosis and our hypnotic abilities. I almost lost my mind during these sessions, but it was through this continual subjection towards insanity that my tendrils grew in length, and so did my capabilities. I have no doubt, as he laughs this off, but you can see he folds his arm a little bit and he says, I have no doubt that in between the sessions, they were also whispering all sorts of rules and restrictions into my subconscious, which is probably why I have such a strong sense of loyalty towards the royal family. He chuckles a little bit. And he said, but regardless of what they may or may not have done to me during that time, I did eventually leave those dungeons unscathed and with the power of Descension. So,
yeah, compared to that, my Descension was a really pleasant,
yes.
pleasant feeling. I mean,
you didn't
it just
have
happened in a blink.
Yeah, you didn't have to stare into the abyss and have it stare back at you.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
That must be tough.
it is, but it's for a very good reason, and I'm pretty sure it's difficult for a reason, so it can prevent a dark and terrible truth from coming out. Now that I'm aware that you also have this power, I can speak freely of it. I was restricted before. Like, I couldn't speak about it to anyone who isn't aware of it already. So by you confirming to me that you have this ability, I am now able to talk about it, which is a huge relief because it's not very common. I really wanted to make sure that there wasn't some terrible misunderstanding, because I'll put this as simply as I can. If the current Empress sees you as you are, you will be considered the biggest threat to their rule at the moment, because you are someone who has achieved Descension without having a leash put on you.
Oh.
That's why I was concerned before, but I couldn't talk about it because I couldn't break the rules myself. So yeah, I'm proud of you, but I am concerned. We will have to find a way to make it less obvious, especially if you get summoned before Thal Azath or the Empress themselves. But this does grant us a window of opportunity, because the other noble abyssals won't know about your original status. So you have the potential here to pose as a visiting noble towards Vaer'Ghul. And this is where we get to the other more exciting bit about this, is that this is the main reason why the Descension ritual is kept a secret from most Abyssal. Abyssal are not immune to the projected psychosis and hypnotic abilities of our kind. We can be controlled, but it depends on how far your Descension has gone. And if the average Abyssal found out about this, heads would roll. As powerful as the noble classes are, there are far more Abyssal who are not in that category. So this is why it's kept a secret and strictly controlled. But it does allow us more subtle manipulation over our populations, which is why we don't have any issues of revolts or civil wars or anything about that. We make sure that the song that is constantly sung throughout the oceans towards the Celestial Den is also directed towards our own people. I have no say in this matter. I am bound to the Empress, so while I might not personally agree with this, I have little choice in the matter. You, though, are different.
And it cannot be undone?
In fact, it's unlikely, but there is potential here. If you were to
this is what I'm thinking about. What if I use my voice on you?
It depends. Can your Descension outdo that of the Empress themselves? Because
we can try.
Yeah, we can try it. So yeah, why not? He's trying to think now, and he goes, I am forbidden. Actually, now that I think about it, I am forbidden from describing what the Empress looks like. Maybe we could use that. If you order me to tell you what the Empress looks like.
Okay, let's try.
Give me an Arcana. So yeah, Composure,
I
Resolve.
I don't have Arcana. It's just Composure.
You've got Arcana +5 at the bottom there.
Oh yes, I do have it.
Yeah, I need to reorganize those into alphabetical. Sorry.
Yeah, that would help.
Yeah.
Yes. So Arcana and just Arcana, or
so Resolve and Composure +8. Yeah.
A +8 again. Watch me roll a 1. It's really important.
I have to make him do a Resolve roll, not against his will though. No. No, unfortunately, he is unable to break through the conditioning that the Empress has placed on him. He wishes to speak about this. You can tell, you know Commander Xir. He's been on your side since day one, but this conditioning is not too dissimilar to a contract. It's more insidious in that it's been placed on the subconscious. So it's not a magical contract, but it's the chains that have been put on the mind itself. So it operates differently to the Fae and the devils. But Yeah.
Can I train my ability to be stronger, my voice to be stronger?
This is possible. As you use these abilities more often, you'll become more comfortable and familiar with them, especially now that you've initiated the process, because the hardest part about getting a stone to float is lifting it initially. So now that you've already begun the process of descension, reaching further levels of that abyss, for lack of a better term, will be easier through practice and use. It might take a while, but if you could reach the Empress's level, there is a possibility here that you could start your own empire. He laughs. Wow. He's just like, I hope you remember who was your most loyal servant to begin with. He slaps his thigh. He's just like, but I think more importantly, we need to rescue your father first.
Yes.
If anyone here is going to be thrilled at the news of a potential new royal bloodline coming, it might be that he might be the one who best knows it. Oh yeah, I didn't tell you about what kind of powers Descension brings. It's like,
yes,
okay.
I wanted to ask next.
So what do you want to know about first? Your father or the powers? I mean, we were talking about the powers. So.
Okay, let's talk about the powers.
All right.
I'm a terrible daughter.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, it's not like he's going anywhere.
Exactly. Plus, he's very capable, so
yeah,
I have trust in him.
It takes a lot. It takes a lot to take your father down. So yeah, I'm sure he'll be fine because he's like good friends with Commander Xir as well. Okay, so let's see here. Some things. One, you will now be able to control ocean life relatively easier. The more powerful the creature is, the less likely it is to obey you. But most ocean life will follow through with your instructions. You can, through your voice, you can connect your spirits to them and they will follow through with your instructions. So,
oh, this is why I could train my Severfin shark so easily. Oh, nice. It was strange because I didn't have any experience in animal handling before, but I didn't think it was about my new ability.
Yes, you were using your blessing without even realizing it. But it's almost all aquatic life. Obviously, if you come up against like a Kilrathi or a Krakadon or something like that, it might be a little bit more difficult, but not impossible. Again, yep.
Next time I will just say them to Sudoku themselves.
Or just go away. That works too.
Yeah, or just go away.
He woke up and chose violence.
Well, we need those
it's like,
treasures.
Serve yourself up on a plate first. I need the resources.
Yes.
Wow.
We need gold.
Wow. All right. So yes, this ability, as is quite clear, it also extends to other abyssal, specifically those who haven't begun the process of descension. So most abyssal, both young and old, they won't notice it, but they'll feel a natural compulsion to follow through with your commands. You may have realized that you faced a similar thing right back when we were being wine dined and poisoned by Thal and Azath. They gave you the order and you followed through with it without question. So
now this makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, basically they essentially exiled you with little likelihood of you meeting your family ever again, and you followed through with it without question, which is why I've been keeping an eye on you from a distance and making sure that if something were to happen during your journey, that I could potentially intervene for your father's sake. So yeah, Thal and Azath weren't particularly happy with me, but I have more favor with the Empress than they do, so they eventually listened. They might technically be higher on me on the hierarchy, but politically I have more pull. So yeah, from the noble structure they are higher ranked, but in reality, like, Xir has been proven himself more capable, so the Empress trusts Xir more than Thal and Azath. So yes, not only will you be able to control sea life, but also other abyssal as well. This should make your journey to Vaer'Ghul much easier, unless you encounter another descended abyssal, in which case you're going to have to put up a a very believable front for why another noble is visiting. They might even question how you won the favor of the Empress. So take a page from my book. I've given you, this is another reason I wanted to have this conversation with you before I left, was so that you have a good cover story that you've been through the process that somebody who's been descended by the Empress has experienced. So yeah, you can just say something along the lines of, you've proven yourself in combat, you've shown yourself a loyal soldier, and you've been climbing through the ranks, and the Empress sees value in enhancing your mission through dissension. Something along those lines should work. My only concern is if they don't show any care for the Empress, which is actually...
that's a possibility.
Yeah, and that's the result of why I've been here investigating Vaer'Ghul, because something is not right. I was sent here the moment you sent through the report involving this Zenai individual, where they spoke of battling a devil in Vaer'Ghul 80 years ago. The moment word of that got to Thal Azath, I was dispatched to investigate what the heck was going on, because this was information that we were not fully aware of. We'd heard rumors of a battle where another species from the sky invaded the ocean depth and escaped. That was the story that reached the Empress's ears, but a battle between a seraph and a devil at the bottom of the ocean is not something that I had been informed of. So yeah, we were concerned, and looking into it more now, a lot more of the puzzle has started to piece together. When we were being wined and dined back by Thal and Azath, I was given the mission to investigate the missing towns that abyssal cities and towns across the ocean have had our people vanish completely. Entire towns have become ghost towns. We're not sure what was going on. That was my initial mission to investigate. Like, I was still planning the invasion of the Celestial Den, but the rapid disappearance of our own people takes higher priority than dealing with some foxes. But yeah, once we found out about the inconsistencies of the stories coming from Vaer'Ghul and what you'd sent us, I noticed a pattern. About 100 years ago, this happened before, where large swathes of the population started to vanish. At first, it was recorded as some kind of accident, or a particularly vicious group of predators may have come by and just consumed the populations in those areas. But I know a pattern when I see one, and it started up again now. At the exact same time when your father was sent off to go and investigate a devil's appearance at Tidebreaker Fort. And it's way too coincidental that disappearances that happened 80 years ago, and then Zenai, or this seraph bird thing that you've described, got involved. I think that whatever happened in Vaer'Ghul 80 years ago ruined the plans of that particular devil. But whatever plans may have been ruined have been salvaged and have started up again, which is why our people have started to vanish once more. How do you respond to this?
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, this was all the way back in your prologue, was the discussion of the disappearing towns.
Yeah, I honestly, I forgot about it.
Fine. It was a setup that I'd planned to have pay off when eventually we got to the ocean campaign, the ocean bed, the ocean floor. So, that's one other thing, is that as your powers of dissension grow, you will be able to withstand lower pressures, because the abyssal live in the darkness of the ocean, but there are depths to the ocean that even the abyssal can't reach, except for those who have developed their powers of dissension. So you can reach levels of darkness that other abyssal can't.
Okay, let me write this down because I will forget.
Okay. But yeah, so essentially Commander Xir, even though he wasn't aware of the full picture, he could see the machinations of something being played. And remember, he got pissed off right at the beginning of the prologues. He got angry when Lady Thal and Azath took you away on this mission, and he said before that, you know, he doesn't like it when people make moves that he can't predict. Yeah, he's been studying the situation going on within the territory of the Abyssal, and his gut feeling has been telling him that something has been making moves here. I feel like your father might be the key to understanding what's going on here.
So it's possible so maybe there's a devil behind all of this?
Yes, the worst worst case scenario would be that a devil has returned to Vaer'Ghul and has resumed the work of the previous one. It could also just be that Vaer'Ghul's are the successors and are using that previous devil's work for their own ends. Again, we just don't have enough information, which is why I'm concerned that if the noble class in Vaer'Ghul doesn't show signs of loyalty towards the Empress, then it could very well be that they found a mechanism to break free of the Empress's control. That could also be a possibility that would be of great concern, because that would split the Northern Ocean in half for us, you know.
Yeah, but why would they make other abyssal towns vanish?
That is something, again, we don't understand what the mechanism...
Because if they just want to be free from the Empress, then why when... I mean, they can just get those abyssal towns under their influence instead of just making them vanish.
Well, that's the problem.
Stronger. It doesn't make sense.
We haven't found any bodies. Those people might still be alive.
So they might just... they might collect them. I mean, enslave them. And
yes, if they've also figured out how to use a higher or lower level of dissension, then they could very well manipulate large swathes of the population as individuals, which is something usually only the Empress is capable of. But again, we don't know what that first devil was researching. We don't even know if this is a new devil involved. Like, again, another terrible situation would be if the original devil has returned to continue their work. But it sounds like this Sinai individual is pretty good at eliminating them. So
yeah. They are very, very strong. You should see.
He's like, oh, I'm pretty sure I could give her a run for her money. As he like clicks his knuckles.
Maybe, but really, I saw them fight, and yeah.
Okay, I'll trust your words on this, but again, if this Sinai individual tries to cause any trouble at the bottom of the ocean, I think we'll have the edge. They should stick to their air and we have our water. As he laughed. He was wearing one of the gloves that he'd put on before at the Broken Seal Inn, and he makes a quick jab, like boxing jab, and as he does, a ball of water comes out of the knuckles of his glove and fires like a bullet that punches straight through the tree.
Wow, what was that?
This is my preferred method of combat. I use the runes cast on here to take my own wild spirit to create water, and then I use the imbuement of my gloves along this water to turn it into a cannonball. And I could use these above water and below. So it's a tool that's useful regardless of the conditions he's in, which is why he's more of a boxing fighting style. So he's got both medium and short range combat skills. Like but so investigating your father, it definitely lends credence to the theory that a devil is involved here because your father was specifically sent to investigate one and then he went missing. Definitely means he found something. If he hadn't found anything, somebody wouldn't have had to have gotten involved. The best thing you can do, if somebody's investigating you and they can't find anything on you, the best thing you can do is let them go and report that they didn't find anything. Reverse logic implies here that your dad definitely succeeded in his mission. I want to go there right now and bust your dad out, but I have my missions that comes, my instructions that come straight from the Empress. I have been summoned back.
Why?
Because of the concerns of Vaer'Ghul, as well as the now put on pause invasion plan of the Celestial Den. We were initially planning on launching a landing invasion this year, but this incident now takes higher priority. It would be absolutely foolish to commit a huge number of resources into attacking someone when the risk of a civil war is the highest it's ever been. If Vaer'Ghul has the worst case scenario that we believe it could be, that a devil has taken control of the noble class and the noble class has taken control of the populations in those areas, then starting a fight with the foxes is would be the biggest mistake. I was the one that made this recommendation to the Empress myself. I initially had planned to recommend pulling you back in because of the intel you've managed to gather as well as the connection you have. Speaking of which, I wanted to know, how connected is your furry friend to their homeland?
Honestly, I'm not so sure, but it seems that they are not that connected.
Okay, that's good because it's always important to have allies, but at the same time, sometimes the most painful betrayals come from those that are close to you. If they have to choose between their home or your friendship, I don't know. You two seem to be getting along pretty well, but I would just say keep an eye out just in case.
I got the impression that they are somewhat of an outsider, or they have some kind of beef with other Kitsune. I don't know. Yeah, Nyx usually doesn't speak about their past, so I'm not sure, but this is just the impression I get.
Well, the squabbling between clans on the Celestial Den is not something we are unaware of. They have a very rigid structure, and it's something that we'd been investigating, hoping to find a weakness in it. The issue is that the Kitsune tend to have incredible loyalty towards the different families that they've pledged allegiance to. So I think it was called like the Ryoma and the something. But regardless of the name, when one of their noble clans raises their hand, a dozen more will raise their swords to fight for them. That is what's been so tricky with planning this invasion, is that we have been looking for an opportunity where the clan leaders will be so caught up in their squabbles between each other that it will create a window of opportunity for us to perform the ground invasion. We've been keeping an eye on it as things have been particularly violent this year amongst the foxes, so we had hoped that an opportunity for a land invasion was soon, but again, priorities have shifted. This
is more important.
Yeah. So your furry friend, I don't recommend telling them this because again, who knows where their loyalties truly lie. I guess they can breathe easy knowing that the great wave will not be coming soon. But again, I'm worried about your father. You also mentioned that Thrope have also been captured.
Yes.
This crew that you've become friends with on your journey, several of their members were kidnapped and taken undersea. That does lead credence to it being Vaer'Ghul, especially if it happened near here with Froz. Again, I use this as my base of operations. It is not too far from here. It would make sense that if they were collecting bodies, but this is again the concern because we just theorized that it might just be that the people who've gone missing are being hidden somewhere. But now they're collecting Thrope as well. That's strange. We'd heard stories of our people going missing, but this is the first time we've heard of other species going missing involving this. Is there anything that you might theorize about this?
I know Jack said something, I really remember.
Yes, okay, I'll just assume that you told them about Jack's story as well, where he was being experimented on.
Being captured and experimented on, but he said something, but I cannot find my notes.
Okay.
So what he exactly said. I know I even asked him about that particular thing.
Right, your friend had his memories wiped, and repeatedly so, and whoever this, I use the term scientist very loosely here because it doesn't sound like they operate within the realms of any ethics I would consider legitimate. They mocked them. Maybe it was actually a form of the test to see if they could remember after the experimentations, to see if the wiping process was successful or not. This, he says certain things. I shudder to think of maybe there have been thousands of Abyssal who are also being experimented on right now and we're not doing anything.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
He thinks, and he goes, well, the most important thing in that case then is that we take action immediately rather than waiting, because in this kind of situation, you have to have the initiative. If you allow your enemy to operate according to their plans, then they are going to come out on top, especially if this is a plan that has been in the works for almost 100 years. The last thing I want to do is let that plan come through to its completion without at least pulling the rug under from them. I want to trip them up first. So that's where you come in. We have an opportunity here with your Descension abilities to infiltrate, investigate, and hopefully find out what's happened to our people and these Thrope, put an end to it. And who knows, maybe maybe Vaer'Ghul will be renamed to Rylea instead. But that said, I still wouldn't recommend showing your Descension abilities to the Empress. She's insecure, even for an Empress. Yeah, there have been several attempts on her life.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about that. But we still have the lost unicorns that we have to find as well. So
that's actually a really important detail. Why do they want unicorns? He's thinking to himself. You can see he grabs a stick from the coastline and he's drawing on the beach sand as he's trying to create the map, and he's marking out the towns that have gone missing. And you can see he's trying to put like the chess pieces on the board, metaphorically speaking. Why the unicorn? You said that the unicorns originally came from Tarnithia, correct? I mean, Verdantia, right? Why did they flee Verdantia if 100 years ago the incident happened in Vaer'Ghul, but now the children are being taken to Vaer'Ghul despite them fleeing 10 years ago? I believe this Galadorn individual said that the sanctuary took a decade of work to put together. So if we line up the timelines here, we can see that 100 years ago our people started going missing. Then the Sinai individual got involved 80 years ago. The missing incident stopped. Then 60, 70 years passes by and the unicorns start being hunted down. They travel across the ocean, hiring your friends Hadrian and Jareth. They hire these two, who were former pirates, no less, and take them across to Verdantia and to the Monkey King. And then exactly 10 years later, you get involved. Your father gets involved with the devil, and the children get kidnapped and taken. I don't like this. I don't like this at all, because that implies that you were possibly sent out as bait. He puts his hand on his chin where his tendrils are all in the way, but he strokes his tendrils anyway, and he's just sitting there going, what if your father was onto something? But that would imply that Lady Thal and Azeth are also caught up in this web and being manipulated without them realizing it. This runs way too deep, but it's again, I don't like the fact that you were sent into exile. I knew my gut feeling was that something was off here. You were sent out, and then all these incidents came into play in rapid succession. A plan that had spent 100 years in the making suddenly starts moving over the course of just a couple of months. That's the action of a general moving his pieces before a battle. These unicorn children, mate, what if, oh my god, what if they didn't escape? What if they were let go so they could increase their number? He's thinking about it now, and he's like, and what if they needed someone to find them as well? How did you know about the unicorn?
I mean, the Monkey King showed us where they are, or were.
But you said that was the reason you went to the Monkey King. Why were you looking for unicorns?
Because of Spira.
Right, your Pegasus friend.
Yeah.
They were looking for unicorns because
their friend was in an accident with a plague wraith.
But what if it wasn't an accident? That's what I'm thinking. Because again, there's been too many coincidences lined up to here that we should evaluate any coincidence as a potential action rather than just hand waving away and creating a blind spot for ourselves. So let's run with this hypothesis, right? What would happen? You said your friend's friend was sick and she set out to find a cure and was told about unicorns who were trying to keep themselves hidden. Doesn't that seem wrong to you? Like, doesn't that seem a little too coincidental that they happen to run into the one person who know where a unicorn was?
Yeah, you can basically hear
the brain cells like fighting.
Yeah, but we first heard about the unicorns from it wasn't the Monkey King, it was what's her name? Oh my god, Zanai's sister.
Arista,
right?
Okay. Maybe I'm overthinking it.
I don't know. It's just too many things that cannot be. I mean, what if Spira wasn't like Spira, and if she just didn't investigate or didn't want to help her friend?
That's a fair point.
Then the whole plan would just fall.
Again, we just don't have enough information. That's the issue.
Yes.
That's why I'm trying to avoid creating blind spots, but I see where you're coming from. It's very easy to slip into paranoia as well, thinking that way. But that's the problem with dealing with devils. They weave plots that are incredibly intricate with many escape routes and backup plans and contingencies that you can't deal with a devil without developing a sense of paranoia.
We definitely need more information.
The Zanai individual said that they were a bit of a specialist on devils. They warned of a similar thing where they said that they will weave all sorts of schemes and plans to turn friends against each other and mask their actions and everything. So if I really want to indulge in the paranoia, I could say that even me suspecting your friends could be part of their plans. As he just laughs, he's just like, my head hurts.
Yeah, Yeah, it's possible, according to your logic, it's possible that I am, even me, is involved without me knowing. So everything is possible.
Out of all of your friends, again, it just you have a Kitsune who runs away from home and a person who desperately needs a unicorn who comes out at the same time, and then a fae who ran away from home. Did Hyacinth even tell you like why they left?
No, no.
That's concerning.
She's also very enigmatic.
That's a bit of a black box. Maybe might be worth finding out a little bit about your friends. It could prevent the knife in the back. Again, there's just not enough information and we don't have enough time because I have to return whenever the storm ends. I really wish I could help you more, but I just don't know enough. DM is punishing you for not talking to your friends.
Yeah.
Commander Xir grumbles a little bit and he's like, I feel like we've definitely put together more pieces of this puzzle. I have a much clearer image of how everything is going here. You know, your information, I am, Thal and Azith have been withholding information from me, whether it's out of malice, pet or pettiness, I can't tell because they don't like how close I am with the Empress.
Is it possible that we communicate the same way or a similar way as I communicate with Lady Tal?
He thinks about that and he goes, you mentioned that you've learned the power of imbuement, which I also have. Okay, we can, that's an interesting thought. Since you've gone through the ritual of Descension in an unorthodox way, I'll admit, it might be possible that you could learn a unique magic of Descension. So, yeah, we might have enough time to run through this. Okay, but to answer your question, what was your question? Sorry.
My question was that can we stay in touch
Yes.
if you return? Because that would come really handy.
Yes. If you can grant me one of your daggers or the sword that I gifted you, you can make the choice which is which one. You should have been imbuing it with your spirits enough to have created a connection to it. When you imbue an item long enough, it attunes to your soul and your spirit, which enables far greater application. And in some cases, even wild magic can sometimes occur with certain items. Those are more rare, where like wild magic can be imbued into it. But your fox friend's sword is a great example of a weapon that has been imbued with complex spirit to create that tail generating ability. You should as well have the potential to also create your own magical items with enough imbuement over time. It takes a lot of like personal attachment to creating such an item, but your necklace is no different. I believe Lady Thal told you that she carved it herself, which meant that she spent a long time making that necklace for you, and she was imbuing it the entire time. So yeah, if you could give me one of your favorite daggers that you've been imbuing, then yeah, we should be able to create a connection. And my sword that I gave you has been imbued with mine, so I can reach out to you through the sword, and you could reach out to me through the dagger.
Here, this is my favorite dagger.
Thank you. He quickly tucks it away inside of his beard. So he's like, this could also be useful in case of an emergency. There will be a delay though, like between our messages, because the spirits will have to travel across the ocean between the two of them. So we won't be able to talk in real time, but at least we'll be able to communicate without having Lady Thal and Azeth and Lord Azeth listening in. This should help us better exchange information without having it muddied or blocked between the two of us. This is now entering into speculation territory, but I would not be surprised if Lady Thal or Lord Azeth view themselves as potential contenders for the throne. So while I have no proof of this, the Empress has had several attempts on her life over the years, so I don't rule out anyone as a potential cause for this. So the more I can get information from those I trust, such as you, the better. I mean, it's dealing with our politics is painful enough as it is. Now we got to deal with devil's schemes as well. This is just great. He like puts his hand on his forehead, just like, oh, my job sucks. He says, as for dealing with my loyalty to the Empress and to you and your father, that's an issue we can deal with another day. My advice would be to continue focusing, developing your primal abilities. The further you can descend into the darkness, the more likely it is you'll be able to break me free from the Empress's control if it comes to that. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, but at least develop it enough so that Lady Thal and Lord Azeth no longer have a leash on you. Let's see. Oh, right. Yes. This is an ability that only descended abyssals can use. Essentially, it's a type of combat meditation. During combat, you can share your awareness with those around you through your voice. It's a unique form of control. We will go into the ocean now to practice it, since we can practice on the nearby fish. You can get a feel for it as well, and I can use what little time we have left to train you in this. But essentially, the application of this magic is that it will allow you to provide additional warning and even potential control of your allies should they find themselves in a situation that is detriment to their health. DM terms, if they roll really badly, you can make a roll for them.
Wow. Well, I don't know how much of a blessing it will be to them given my usual luck, but
yeah.
Yeah, it's like an advantage.
Yeah, it's still better than nothing. It would still be...
It's still better, yeah.
It's essentially, it's like a free instinct roll for your teammates. So if they roll in like a terrible situation, you can basically like control the swing of their arm to try and save them last second kind of thing without them even realizing that you've taken remote control. But yeah, essentially this battle meditation can also convey brief levels of your senses. So if you find yourselves at the bottom of the ocean, which you most likely will when you travel to Vaer'Ghul, your friends might not have the best vision in the darkness. You can share your vision with them so that they can at least have a better chance of seeing what goes on in the deep.
And does this go the other way too? So if my enemy rolls a really high one, can I roll a lower one?
Depends. That starts entering into the territories of resonance type magic, or synchros, I believe is what your Arista friend called it. That's more like synchros level. This is not too dissimilar to the phase resonance, but more remote and far less impactful. But still.
And one more thing before I forget. When I got the blessing of the Jinn, I also felt, now I know that this was my descension, but I also felt something unusual with my ear, but I cannot figure it out.
Oh, that was the controlling sounds of the voice throughout the ocean no longer working on you. It's like hearing silence for the first time. Imagine always hearing noise at the back that your subconscious is just suppressed because it always hears that ringing. But for the first time in your life, it went quiet. Which is why your ears feel weird. You're no longer a puppet on a string. Your strings have been cut.
Oh, I see.
Commander Xir still has a few strings on him, but as long as you don't get captured by the Empress, she's strong enough to be able to put new strings on you if needed. So don't piss her off. Preferably don't let her know about you.
Okay.
That's Commander Xir's recommendation.
Yeah.
I have favor with her, but I don't have that much favor with her. Although personally, I think you're better. He again just laughs a little bit.
Oh.
She's a little too, she's a bit too paranoid, which can get a bit irritating, you know? I don't blame her given the number of attempts on her life, but at some point, it gets a bit frustrating. Commander Xir, do this. Commander Xir, do that. Can't you tell somebody else to do something for a change? I'm trying to plan an invasion. Maybe I should learn summon magic so I can make copies of myself to just split the workload. Sounds actually kind of useful, but I don't have the time to learn a new magic system. I spent most of my life learning this as he just raises his fist again. He'll take you into the ocean and he'll train you. We're just going to call it battle meditation for now, but we'll give it a more abyssal appropriate name later.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there anything you'd like your character to do as well?
Okay. Oh, maybe I should buy a new dagger to
replace the missing one. I mean, where are you going to find a dagger on a pirate island? Oh my god, it's going to be so hard. You find it with ease. Speaking of which, you see Jareth has been busy retraining the former Cracktooth crew to now be officially part of the Howlers. So, your fleet is growing. You now have 3 boats. I think we can call it there. The next episode should be right here. Thanks for watching.